Hi, today we're going to be looking at LinkedIn and how you can maximize your potential in the largest online professional marketplace. So how are recruiters using LinkedIn? I have this great infographic that goes over some statistics that I think will help shed the light on how recruiters are really using LinkedIn and some other social media and why it's so important. So if we look at this infographic, we can see that 92% of the companies that were surveyed use social media for recruiting. A few years ago, only 78% of the companies surveyed were using it. In 2012, 93% of companies were using LinkedIn for recruiting purposes. As a sidebar, 66% of companies are using Facebook and 54% are using Twitter. So those social networks are also used, but LinkedIn is the main one. So is it working? According to the study, 73% of the companies surveyed said that they successfully hired somebody through social media. 42% of the companies say that the candidate quality improved, and 20% said it took less time to hire. 31% said they saw an increase in employee referrals, and 65% said they compensate employees for referrals. We'll go over this a little bit later. You do need to be careful of how you're represented on these social media sites, including LinkedIn. Make sure that you're putting professional content out there, because 3 out of 4 hiring managers and recruiters check social profiles even if they're not provided, and 1 out of every 3 employers have rejected candidates based on something they found in social profiles. So here are some ways that businesses, schools, organizations are using LinkedIn for recruiting. Businesses use LinkedIn to post jobs and to look for new employees. They're going to search for people that they think might fit their job. Some companies hire recruiters to help find good candidates, and it's important to connect with these people. We'll go over that later. Lastly, schools and organizations often have groups for collaboration and also posting opportunities in select fields. So wherever you graduate from, it's important to connect with those alumni groups if they're on LinkedIn, because oftentimes people will post jobs in those areas where you graduated. On this slide, I have links to a few different infographics and lists that really help you learn how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. And I hope that you come back to this presentation and go back through those. The first one, this 17 must-haves for your LinkedIn profile, is what I'm using for the rest of this presentation, because it's a really good list of step-by-step areas that you need to concentrate on in your LinkedIn profile to really optimize it so that you show up in searches and so that it's filled out completely. This is a list of the top 5 reasons recruiters don't click through, so sort of the things not to do. The first mistake is that you're not connected to recruiters. Second is that you don't have a profile photo. Third one is that you have a boring generic headline. The fourth biggest mistake is that your profile lacks the right keywords. And the last one is that it's not public. Hopefully this isn't going to apply. The whole idea is for it to be public. And then this other one lists 5 more ideas, and again, I think it would make sense after you've completed it to come back and make sure you've done this. One of the big hints that they use here is to accept invitations from strangers. It's not like Facebook. You want to connect with as many people as possible. You want to keep your profile fresh. You want to explain your roles and how you perform, not just titles, and really look at the groups a little bit closer and perhaps join some groups. Also, you could look at LinkedIn classmates. So really it's about connecting with the people you know and also connecting with people that you don't know. So again, I would come back to those and read those a little bit closer, but we're really going to focus on these top 17 must-haves, and we're going to go through step by step and filling out each of these areas. So let's get started. If you don't already have an account, then go to linkedin.com and register for one, and then go to Profile, Edit Profile to start adding information. You can see you can click on pencil icons, this edit contact information, or even the camera to edit those different sections. Before you get started editing, you may want to turn off your notifications just for now and then turn them back on when you're done. That way, all of the people that you're connected to won't get 1,000 emails that you have a new job or new education. So to do that, go to Account and Settings, click on your profile picture at the top right. Under Account and Settings, go to Privacy Settings, click on Review. Then it should come up under your profile, and the first link is to turn on or off activity broadcasts, and just make sure this is unchecked to let people know when you change your profile, make recommendations, or follow companies, because otherwise, again, as you're making all these changes, people are going to get notifications. And just save that. Then when you're done, make sure that you go back in and turn that on so that people do know that you have made some updates to your profile. So step 1 is to add a profile picture. Adding a profile picture makes it 7 times more likely that your profile is going to be viewed. Make sure you have a neutral background, dress for the job you want, business attire for most. If you're looking for an artsy job, then dress artsy. Smile, but look friendly and professional. And also choose a current photo. If you are here at the Blaustein School, we hope to have the photographer come, so make sure that you're available that day so you can get a real professional photo taken for this purpose. Okay, step 2 is putting in a professional headline. This is the text that goes right under your name. Okay, so I'm going to hit the edit next to that. You can show examples, right? So it has some examples for you. This is also interesting. You can see what other users in your industry are using. So if I click that, it's going to pop up a window and show other people in my industry and what they have used for their headlines to give me a better idea of what I might want to put in my own. So in the next few slides, I have some different kinds of examples so you can put together one that you think would work best for you. I'm not going to read them all, so you may want to come back to the presentation and look over them. But the first formula is you use a keyword or subject matter and talk about an action for a specific company or person, and then have a proof point. So the first one is professional chef specializing in gluten-free diets, winner Seattle Personal Chef of the Year 2012. Okay, so you have some keywords here and some specific keywords that people might be searching for, and then proof of that. So that's the first example. The second one is to claim your niche. Okay, so you have some keywords and the specific benefit or focus. So we'll take the second one here, tax accountant, CPA, they put a little pipe, specialist in family-owned businesses with revenues of 1 to 5 million. So this is kind of chunked up different things, okay? Like the first one has Sigma Master Black Belt and then dedicated to process excellence and auto manufacturing. 2 totally different things, but you get extra keywords in there. The next example is the direct to customer. So it starts out with a question, then who you are, who you help, and the proof point or attention-grabbing questions. So need capital, banker for early-stage technology growth companies. Clients include XYZ and ABC. So this is really the kind of attention-grabbing headline. And the last one we'll look at is the creative cat. Okay, so they don't really have a formula, but they can be really effective if they're really done well. So first example, copywriting artists transforming technical jargon from flatline boring into a juicy novel-like page turner. So these are for more creative type of jobs. So hopefully this will give you some different examples so you can formulate the best headline for your profile. Step 3 is location, and it's pretty limited, so you can choose a city by zip code, or for most of us it's the greater New York City area, and I included a map on what that includes. And to show you in the profile, it goes right here under your headline. The next item is industry choice. So pick the industry that best represents you and best represents the area where you're trying to get a job. I put a link up here to the list of all the different categories, so you could go in ahead of time and look for those. So you may want to use Control F on your keyboard to look for keywords, like if you're in one of the health related fields, you can see which ones they have. They only have a few: health, wellness and fitness, hospital and health care, and then mental health care. So again, look through these and decide which one you think best represents the industry that you're trying to get into. Step 5 is to customize your URL. When you're first signed up for LinkedIn, it assigns this really long kind of crummy URL, but it allows you to change that. So, you're your own brand, and you may want to use this new shortened customized one in your email signature or business cards or other social media sites and so forth. And if you have a blog or website, you can also generate a custom badge. But you can see on this sample business card how nice it looks to have that custom URL. So let me show you how to do that real quick. On your profile, when you're in the edit mode, right here at the bottom, let me get to my edit. You can edit your name right here. So you hit edit and it takes you to a page that allows you to check some other settings, and then down here on the right it says your current URL. Okay, and you can customize your public profile URL, so you can set that right there. And then here's a link to the profile badges, which gives you some HTML code to put in your website if you have one. Step 6 is how to use keywords effectively, and at this point you'll probably want to take some time and really do some research. So the first step in this is to identify the top keywords in your industry. So you're going to search for job postings. You need to think like a recruiter. Search and read other profiles and think about how you can show up at the top of the search. So you need to write these keywords down or put them in Notepad or Word or whatever. Keep them someplace, these top keywords. Then step 2 is to sprinkle these keywords around your profile. You can put them in that headline that we did a little while ago. We could put them in the summary, which we're going to do next, and also in your current and past jobs that you're listing. I found a list that says to be careful and avoid these overused keywords. So people are tending to overuse some of the words that are down there in orange. So you might want to look over those and take those back off of your list. So I want to show you how to get started getting these keywords, and this is going to take a little bit of time, but it's really going to be worth it. So I'm going to search for what I do, and it tries to help you out. So I typed in instructional design, and it says jobs requiring instructional design skills. All right, so let's look at some of those. And I'm just going to grab the first one and see if we can pull out some of the keywords that these jobs are looking for. All right, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I just want to give you the idea of how to get started. So I'm going to look at this job description. I'm going to kind of reverse engineer, right? So if I was hired as a recruiter for this particular job, I would want to be looking for some of these keywords that are in this job. So let's look at this first bullet. Project manages and collaborates with project leads. So project management is the first thing here, right? So I'd want to pull out that. Assess, select, and or manage vendors. Okay, so this is a big part of this job, and a lot of jobs in my field is being able to deal with vendors. Next one is clearly communicates project process with management. Okay, so communicates with management is another one that I would want to pull out and show that I know how to do. Project manages maintenance of content on learning management systems. Okay, this is even capitalized for me. So I need to make sure that that's in there. Okay, so this goes on and on. This is actually a really good example. Here's another one, multimedia skills. Okay, so you can kind of see your eyes sort of drawn towards these. Here's another one, instructor-led training. Curricula, trainer scripts, materials. So again, this is what you need to do for multiple jobs. So go through some of these keywords will show up over and over. Those need to make it to the top of your list so that you have these as a little arsenal to put into your LinkedIn profile so that you start showing up at the top of the list when people are searching for someone with these skills. Step 7 is to write a compelling summary. So you have 2,000 characters. You need to succinctly describe who you are, give a background of your experience, highlight prominent successes or accomplishments, explicitly state what you're looking for if you're looking, make it keyword rich, and use subheadings if appropriate. So this can seem like a daunting task. What I suggest is that you look for other people in your field and see how they structured theirs. So I'm going to use the same search, instructional design, and instead of looking at the jobs, I'm going to look at people. So these top people should give me some good summaries to look at. So let's look at Jim Bruno here, who's the first one, and look at how he structured his summary. So he's got his broken up using caps. There's not a whole lot of formatting that you can do, but he's got caps and then he's got some bullets. And I could look at his and pick out his keywords and see if they match up with mine. And take a look at a few different people and look to see how they structured theirs and get a good idea of how you want to structure yours. So this one's a little bit different, has a few paragraphs and then a bulleted list. Okay, so instead of just jumping in, maybe look around a little bit for other people that are in your field, maybe people who are a level higher than you're looking for right now, kind of see where you want to go in the future and construct a really good summary that way. Step 8 is to add all of your experience and education. You want your resume and your LinkedIn profile to be consistent, but they don't have to be completely the same. Remember to sprinkle those keywords around these categories. Bullets are okay to use and descriptions are okay too. Again, look at some other profiles and see how people did theirs and take what you think would be best for you and just really fill out all of those different categories for all the experience you've had and all the education that you've accomplished. Step 9 is adding files, photos, and video. This is fairly new to LinkedIn within the past year or so, and it makes it so much easier to display your work, to showcase what you've done in the past and the types of skills that you have. So you can upload things like documents. I would prefer PDF just because most people have a PDF viewer, but you can also upload PowerPoint or Word documents. You can upload most kinds of images, links to videos, like if you have something on YouTube, and to other sites like SlideShare or Prezi. So let's just look. I have a few on my profile. So I'm in the editing mode here, and I've added a video here and a couple of PDFs here and a couple more videos down here. But you can see how they really make your profile a lot more interesting color-wise. So when you're uploading these, if you have a presentation, you might want to make sure that it has a nice colorful first page. So when you upload it, it looks nice and colorful and not just, kind of boring black and white. To add something new, you just click on this little icon here. You can either add a link, and it tries to help you out there. You can see to a video, image, document, presentation, or you can upload a file there. Okay, so if you add a link, there's also a link here for supported providers. So I can bring that over in here when it loads up. And this is going to give you a list. So if you're curious about what kind of presentations you can do, Prezi, Scribd, or SlideShare. The video providers is really long, so that's always helpful. Obviously YouTube is where most people would upload a personal video, so you could put it there. Alright, so you just put the link in and then fill out the description and hit continue, and then it pops right up on your page. Step 10 is to add anything you can under these bonus categories that are on the side. If you have projects, if you speak more than one language, if you have any publications, honors and awards, try to put something under those categories. And at the bottom there's some other categories they recommend, such as test scores, courses, patents, certifications, and then volunteering and causes. In one of the studies that I read, 42% of the recruiters polled said that they count volunteer jobs as much as regular jobs. So if you've done any volunteering, make sure you list it there. So step 11 is managing endorsements. This is where you add your top skills and then people vote to endorse you for those skills. But you want to get rid of ones that don't really showcase your actual skills. And also there's such thing as endorsement bombing, which I thought you would find sort of humorous, where people endorse you for a bogus skill and then other people keep upvoting it. Here's a skill that that person may or may not have, but you probably don't want that on your LinkedIn. So let's look at LinkedIn real quick, and if you scroll down to the endorsements and hit edit, you can add some, you can drag them around to reorder, you can manage them. So if there's one on here that you don't particularly like, you can just uncheck the show hide. You could also uncheck people from showing up. So that's how you can manage those. Step 12 is add your contact information. If you are looking for a job, make sure you list pertinent contact information under the additional information section. You can list other sites, like point people to your Twitter or your blog or anywhere else that you want. And I think this is important. You want people to be able to contact you in multiple ways. So if we look at LinkedIn profile, it's near the bottom, this additional information. So I've got my email address and my Twitter there as extra information, so you can put whatever you want. But if you're really looking for a job, I think it's a good idea to fill that out. Step 13 is to add connections. So once you get your profile the way you want it, then start looking for your friends, colleagues, present and past, people you went to school with, professors, anybody that might be able to help you connect to other people or maybe recommend you. Okay? You might want to write a personalized invitation to them instead of using the standard one. It's okay to connect with strangers. When you're doing a search, if you find someone that's interesting, go ahead, ask to be connected. If you're looking for jobs, it's a really good idea to search for recruiters. The recruiters could work for a specific company like J&J, or they might be recruiters that work for staffing companies. But you just search for them and try to connect with them. It's their job to hook people up with the jobs that they represent, the companies they represent. So they're a great find. Step 14 is to try to get recommendations. You have to be connected with the person to get a recommendation from them. You could recommend other people and then hope they do the same. To do that, you go to their page and click the little down arrow, and you could recommend them, write them a little paragraph on how great they are to work with and so forth. Or you could ask them, send them a message and ask if they want to trade recommendations, or you could just ask them directly. If you want to ask someone directly, you can go to your page, and on this little drop arrow, you can ask to be recommended. And you got to choose which job or role that you've listed, and you start typing people in, and they should pop up. And then write them a little customized message and hit send, and hopefully they'll write you a recommendation. You may have to send out a few of these to get exactly what you want, but these are really helpful to have on your profile page. Step 15 is to join some groups. Use a search tool. You can change the what you're searching for on the side to groups, and find some groups in your areas of interest. You can post to discussion boards, help others solve problems, or you can also create your own group if you have the time to do that and you don't see one that already exists. Step 16 is to add updates. So these are the same types of things like in Facebook. The homepage looks a lot like Facebook now, but it has to do with your career. So find some interesting articles and you can paste them here, or you could share an opinion about something. And if you do this every week or so, it'll really build up your profile and show that you're an expert in your field and that you have a real interest in your field. Step 17 is to use Pulse for news. Pulse is LinkedIn's news feed. You can go to Interests, Pulse, and they'll have recommendations for you. You can follow channels or influencers, and then these articles will show up for you. Kind of keeps you up to date on the latest things. So you go to Interest, Pulse, and if you go to Discover, you can find some people that you think might be interesting. So you can just follow these, and then they'll show up in your news feed. All right, and then you can go to News, and then they'll have some different articles here, and you can like it and comment on it, or you can also share this as well. Step 18 is to actually search for a job. So you can use the Jobs menu to search for a job, and you can save these searches and get email alerts on them, and you can also save jobs. Then you can apply for them. There's usually a link right on there. It usually bumps you back to the company page. So if you just click on Jobs here, it will give you some suggestions, and you can also just start a search up here. All right, so I'm going to search for that, see what pops up, and then you can go to the advanced and you can kind of pare down. So maybe I want something within 50 miles of my house. All right, so this is all the stuff that pops up. Now I could save this search up at the top right, and allows you to name it and asks you if you would like to get a weekly alert in your inbox on that, okay? And then you can look at these jobs, and you can save this actual job. If you want to see all your saved jobs and save searches, you can just go back to that main jobs page, and it'll be over here. The saved jobs, the saved searches, and the jobs that you've applied for. So 19 is thinking about getting introductions. So say you have a colleague or a friend, and you see that they're friends or colleagues with someone that looks really interesting, then you can use introductions. So you go to that person's page and you pull down the arrow next to their name and choose Get Introduced, and choose the person that you have in common to get to introduce you to this new person. It's a way to get the network really moving. The other way to expand your network is to actually pay for it. So LinkedIn has these different plans, and it gives you a different amount of in-mail messages. So you can send a direct message to anyone on LinkedIn. So for $20 a month, you could send 3 of those a month. And if that person replies, you could connect with them, and that's another way to build your network. So number 20 is to review your privacy settings. Just on every other social network, if you click on your picture and go down to privacy and settings, just go through each of those and make sure that it's the way you want. Now remember, if you at the beginning turned off that notification, you may want to turn those back on so people get updates when you do add something new. There are some really great LinkedIn success stories that is posted on their blog. I encourage you to go and read some of these. There's some good lessons learned on networking and being persistent and so forth. Some extra things to think about to market yourself. First is to register your name, first name, last name, or some variation as a URL. Domain names cost only $10 a year. You could redirect that straight to your LinkedIn page, or you could redirect it to a web page or a blog, whatever you want. So that's actually nice to have. You could start a blog or a website, and I have some free ones there listed. One of the studies I found said the skill employers deem most important is verbal communication. So one idea is that you could make a video resume, post it on YouTube, and then you could link it on your LinkedIn and other places. There's one here that you can watch in the presentation that's really good, so keep that in mind. One of the popular methods for first interviews, especially if they're not in a location that's near you, is to do a video conferencing interview using Skype, Google Plus Hangouts, GoToMeeting, Adobe Connect Pro, WebEx, or any other of the video conferencing software packages. So you need to make sure that you're ready for this. You want to dress for success that day. You want to make sure that you're comfortable using that software. Definitely practice beforehand if you can. And there's a little cartoon here has some little tips. Make sure you have a quiet space, good internet connection, and so forth. If you need to do that while you're at the blasting school, we have a special room set up for you, so you just have to let me know. So good luck in your job search. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And this presentation and an accompanying checklist is available at the links listed in the orange box. Thanks.